Hey, you guys, it's great to be with you again. This is Marnie. I'm here today with Robyn Dykstra, and we are going to be talking to you about proven strategies to get more speaking engagements right now, even during COVID season, which is crazy, but possible. And we're going to talk about 5 ways to getting speaking invites now. Robyn is one of our speakers over at womenspeakers.com for years and years, a featured speaker, as well as she and I are part of the speaker track over at the Well Conference that's coming in April of 2021 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So if you're looking forward to going somewhere, join us in Michigan. It's going to be amazing. And that conference is for not only speakers and writers, but also for other ministry communicators and artists. And so if you know someone like that who needs a boost, come and join us in April. Mm-hmm. All right. During this hour, we're going to talk about the most important key to getting booked for speaking gigs. Also, keys to strategize and multiply your speaking opportunities using one simple strategy. One hack to differentiate yourself from the pack. The tip that turns one gig into multiple gigs. The best kept secret for being findable. How you can speak for free and still make money, how and when to ask Alexa, the follow your favorite strategies to and how to make that work for you. And Robyn is our trainer today. She has spoken at thousands of events. You can tap into her experience, strategies, and heart to learn more about how to find speaking gigs to share your story or teachings with those who need to hear from you. You can learn more about her in the Michigan state at womenspeakers.com or, of course, over at her own website, robyndykstra.com. Robyn, welcome to you. Yay!
Well, I've been looking forward to this for weeks. I'm so excited to share this good stuff. You know, you and I probably have more years behind us than ahead of us. Yeah. And so it's really important if we're going to multiply the message of Jesus Christ that we have to multiply the messengers. And that's why I'm here with you today, is to make sure that we equip women to prepare the messages, but also to find places to present them.
Right. And what was funny is that you and I were brainstorming. I'm in charge of the speaker track for the Well, and you and I were brainstorming about your topics, what you're going to talk about there, and all that. And then you're like, I have this great topic. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it didn't quite fit into that venue, but it fits here. And I'm so excited to share it with everybody because you, my dear, have figured out how to really get and stay on the radar of planners.
I do. I have. So I don't know where you want to start. Which one do you want to begin with?
Let's go with the most important key.
Yeah. And this is going to sound so obvious. And please, if you are looking at me right now, you're not allowed to roll your eyes, because the most important thing that you can do is pray. You need to pray that the Holy Spirit would be your booking agent. And not only you pray, but you find 3 women who will write your name on their bathroom mirror in pink lipstick. And every time they look at that thing, they go, I'm just praying that my friend gets opportunities to proclaim the name of Jesus. So the most important thing you can do is to pray and let God open doors for you. I mean, St. Augustine says you work like it depends on you, but you pray like it depends on God. So we're going to talk about both things.
Yes.
But the number one thing you can do is just pray that God would give you words to say and give you places to say them.
Amen. Amen. So I have, you've got gals with your name on their mirrors and lipstick. And I've got gals around the world that are praying for me when they brush their teeth.
Oh,
I know. Isn't that so funny? And I remember one day saying, you know, this is a little intimidating to ask people to pray for me when they're brushing their teeth. God, why did you say that? And he said, well, I could have said flush the toilet, but I didn't think you'd like that one as much. And I was like, you're so gracious and compassionate to me.
Yeah, thank you for not choosing that one.
So whatever God puts on your heart, ask people to pray for you, for open doors of opportunity for you. And that's, of course, my prayer for every speaker, every godly speaker. It's like open doors of opportunity. And we want to talk now about some key strategies, because a lot of speakers have one, okay, they register with womenspeakers.com and then they're waiting.
Yeah, that's
I
really
do
a good one,
register with womenspeakers.com.
Honestly, that is right on my radar, because I get so many gigs from being found, being deemed findable, because women will Google Christian women speakers. Your website comes up, and then there are so many options, but you make it so easy to find us in Michigan or by topic. So it's a great place to be.
Sure. But it's not the only strategy. And this is what I love about you and about so many speakers that I work with. It's like womenspeakers.com is one of the pieces to a whole strategy of being seen, being found, being booked.
Right. It is. So another one would be, let me see. One of my favorite ones is to turn one gig into another gig. And so you do this, and it's just a little sneaky, just a little sneaky. But I like to think of it as strategic. So let's say you're on the platform, either and it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You can be in a workshop, you can be a breakout leader, you can be keynote, but you'll be talking about one thing. For example, today we're talking about how you can leave a tremendous legacy of leadership or of faith. One of the parts of that would be to pray. I wish I had more time to talk about that in depth. You'll just have to have me come back and talk about prayer the next time. But today we're going to focus on this thing about legacy and leadership. So what you're doing is you're planting a seed in the whole audience's mind and the event planner who's listening that you have more than one topic. And then at some point, it's not a bad idea to say towards the end of your talk that, if it's true, I have had such a good time with you. I wish there was a way that we could do this again. Listen, if you have any influence over having speakers come to your church or ministry, come back and see me afterwards, and I'll give you a card or a one sheet that you can take home so that we can do this again another time. So you ask directly from the stage, and you ask indirectly from the stage. And it just plants the seed that you would like to come back and that you have more topics to talk about, or that you would like to do it again with them.
And I think it's really important that you do that both in front of the planner as well as in front of the audience.
Definitely.
Because years and years ago, when I was had just started womenspeakers.com, and I said to my mother-in-law one time, I said, so it's almost time for women's retreat, because she went to the women's retreat with her church every single year. And she said, I don't think I'm going to go this year. And I said, why? I thought maybe she was sick, because she had always gone every single time. And she said, well, they're going to have the same speaker back, and I already heard her. So this is the challenge that an event planner is facing when considering bringing you back. She has to overcome that kind of a thought that's in her audience's mind. And if you can help her do that, way more likely to get invited back.
Right. Because they don't want to hear the same thing. But if you tell them right up front that you've got other topics.
I have more things that I talk about, which is so like to you and I, it's like, of course. I know. How could I possibly have run out of things to say in just 3 sessions or something?
Sometimes I'll tease and I'll say, listen, I've got one talk. It's 500 hours long. You can only have 3 hours of it this time. You just play with them, and it just continues to plant seeds that you're fun and that you have a lot more things to say.
Right. So beautiful. So how about some other strategies?
Yeah. Another one would be to, if you're just getting started in particular, don't overlook the idea of asking everybody that you know. Look through your contact list and ask everybody and their mother if you can have 30 minutes of their Bible study luncheon, or their fall kickoff, or their Christmas program, or their small group, just any place that would give you practice and visibility. Don't underestimate. And you can even go through your friends list on Facebook or Instagram, and you can private message them, not to be obnoxious, but just one thing I said was, I suppose you know that I've just launched a speaking ministry, and I'm humbly asking you if you could help me Is there anybody, any church or ministry affiliation that you have that would allow me an opportunity to come and speak about fill in the blank so that I could deliver outcome, 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 outcome? Because just being friends with me doesn't mean that they have to know what you can promise. I call it the big promise, and what you'll deliver, what kind of value or content you can deliver to them as a result of having you come. So write that down. Outcome, outcome, outcome. Anytime you talk to anyone about speaking, you don't want to talk about your, you want to dip into your experience a little bit, and your topics a little bit, but it's always, what can you provide to the audience? How can you make the event planner's life easier?
Absolutely. And the way and the way that I describe that when I'm helping speakers come up with their 30-word wonder is that I say, how are they going to feel differently when they leave your session than before they came in? And that's how you decide what the outcome is, because otherwise it's kind of hard to say, like, I don't know what my outcome is. I mean, but if you say, how are they going to be changed? Now you can really get specific, and they're going to be filled with hope, or they will know how unique they are, or they will understand their mission, or, whatever. You can get really specific with the outcomes, and that's huge.
That's really good. I actually wrote that down. And then deliver it, right? Practice, maybe even get a speaking coach to evaluate your delivery or your topic. I know you do coaching, don't you?
Well, and just last week, I just put out a new resource over at Marnie.com that's called Pitch Perfect. And it's how to actually nail this, because this is huge. And you can miss an opportunity in literally 30 seconds. So the planner of this huge conference, and you are standing next to each other in line at the buffet, and you're at the conference as an attendee, and she's right there. And what do you do? I'm the coordinator of this event. And you say, great, would you pass me some lettuce? And it's like, no, in that moment, God has placed you right there in that moment to actually tell her, I'm a resource that God has placed on planet Earth right now in your path for such a time as this. And I just want you to know that I'm here and available to you. This is not bragging. And just, you have to step into your calling in the world that God set you here, and be so brave, be so confident.
That is so important, because I think a lot of us feel like it would be pride or
it's huge.
And it's not. If this is what God is calling you to do, then you have to believe in yourself and your message enough. Like, trust the call and trust the caller. Did he put you in line right with her so that you could offer your services? That's a great way. Just speaking about that is just to have a memorized mission statement, elevator pitch, tagline, whatever you call it, available. So if she says, I'm the event planner here, you would be prepared to say, oh my gosh, what a delight to meet you. I'm Robyn Dykstra. I'm a Christian retreat speaker. I travel all over, blah, blah, blah. And
have it narrowed down.
And what I bring is the
blank, blank, blank.
Blank, blank, blank. Yep. Which reminds me, that's another way really to make a great connection to find event planners. As long as things are, or places to speak, as long as things are shut down right now, use this as the long game to connect with your local, or however far you're willing to travel, regional planners, and just let them know, I'm here. This is what I do. This is what I could deliver. I got one of the biggest events of my life because I contacted a local event planner who did a Christmas program, and she had nearly 1,000 women come to this. Well, up to this time, I've been talking to like 25, 50 people at a time. But I was brave, and I knew I had a message that could really deliver on this at this Christmas program as an evangelical outreach. And so I called her twice a year for, I think, 3 years. And I'd say to her, Trish, planes get grounded. Weather is bad. People get sick. I just want you to know that I am ready to step in on a moment's notice if you need a speaker last minute. Well, the fourth year, she called me up and she said, I am so tired of worrying about whether planes get grounded or the weather's going to be bad. I'm using a local speaker this year and I'm inviting you to come.
Yeah.
And
funny.
boom. But just letting, and don't think just churches either. Think Christian camps, think pregnancy resource centers, have fundraisers, think about Right to Life programs, have not only trainings, but also fundraisers. So think what's in your local area that you could serve that would take a load off of an event planner's mind.
Right. And right now during COVID, and I don't know if you were going to get to this, I'm sorry, I might be jumping ahead here, but now during COVID, one of the things that we have the ability to offer is to come to a group online.
Yes.
And I have been really proud of so many speakers who are just like, I'm just going to do what God puts before me and let him worry about the money.
Exactly.
And then we have some other speakers who are like, this is not fair for them to ask me to come and not give me a remuneration. And okay, so I just think get at peace with where God has you. And if that's where God has you, then he has something else for you to do with that hour.
Right.
But honestly, when you would go to speak at an event before, you would have all the travel. You'd have to really set aside the whole, at least half a day, if not 2 days, to go and do it. And now you have the ability to show up for 1 hour.
And
it is different.
Who might not get the opportunity to see such a high caliber speaker as you, right?
And once they know you, don't you think they would be more likely to consider you for an upcoming event or conference?
Well, just think about MOPS groups. And grief share groups and glows, small places that couldn't normally afford a speaker to come in. But if you think about it, the MOPS leaders today are the event planners, the women's ministry directors of the future. And so if you serve them well now, this is job security for you. And
it's huge
online, you get to bless them. Like I just got an inquiry from a MOPS group 3 states over who wanted to know if I would do an online presentation for them. I'm like, of course, sign me up.
Absolutely.
Course. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
I think instead of viewing COVID as this humongous setback,
Yeah.
So what God taught me, I did a program a while back called Over My Head, and it's about being in the deep end of the pool. And as long as we feel like we're alone drowning in the deep end of the pool, we have a miserable experience. But as soon as we recognize that the same God that threw us in the deep end is waiting in the deep end to catch us. And to carry us in the deep end, right? So then further, God showed me that when you're on a diving board, you go jump, 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 up, down, okay?
Yeah.
So before you go up, you go down.
Yep.
This is down.
Oh, that's good.
If we look at it like this is not a problem, this is actually an opportunity. And yes, it's an expensive place to be.
It is.
It's costly, and we didn't choose it. We would never have chosen it. However, it's where we find ourselves, and God is bigger. God has good plans for us.
He is. It just keeps
coming back. What are you doing with your nose? What is that?
You're right on the money, girl. You're right on the money.
I'm like, are you bewitched or what?
You hit the head right on the. Did your mom ever do that to you? You got it. No. You're right on the nose. I think it's a gambling term. But see, I didn't get raised in the church, so I got these
right on the nose
leftover secular stuff. It's like one by a nose or right on the money. Sorry,
that's so funny. Okay. Anyway.
Yes. All right.
COVID shut down, and the opportunities are here for you to reach out and to actually just offer your services for even smaller events. Because, and this is what I was just telling somebody this morning. The women who are in the roles of planner, of events, conferences, retreats, ladies, things, they usually are wearing like 5, 6, 12 hats.
Yeah.
They're also pastors' wives. They are also running a business on the side. They're also the coordinating the, VBS. They're also an author or a blogger or a podcaster, or, you have no idea. If God puts somebody on your heart to reach out to, oh my goodness,
Mhm.
just do it and let him worry about the results.
Right. I am so agreement. And then, but going back, when you reach out to them, make sure that you're clear about what you're offering.
Yes.
Not just that you're a local speaker or that you're a dynamic speaker. Talent is important. Preparation is paramount.
Huge.
But outcome, what can you give them that would make them want to say yes to you? How can you make their life better, easier? How can you expedite a role that they have? How can you make them better? So make sure that first thing you do is figure out what you do for whom and how you do it and what you can deliver.
Mission, vision, mission, vision, mission,
yes,
vision.
yes.
Okay, are we done with key strategies?
We could be. Let me.
Well, I don't want to miss a single
one.
So you just.
You know what? Can we talk just for a minute about one that has been working really well for me right now, multiplying the speaking opportunities. And there's two different ways to do that. One is if you're a speaker that's not really well known yet, and so you haven't been invited to do the keynotes, but you feel like you are ready to, or you could, you go to the conference and you go, I could do that.
Right.
Go to that event planner like Marnie was talking about and ask her for a breakout session. Ask her for a workshop in the big conference under the umbrella of the big retreat. And then when you get these tremendous evaluations that your participants turn in, then that event planner has more confidence to invite you into a bigger role in the next year's conference. But this COVID has really made me acutely aware that a lot of my work is contingent on the women's ministry annual event calendar. Mm-hmm. Typically, a church, unless they're a gigantic church, will have one major event per year. But what if you took your content, this valuable content that you've created, and you offer it as a workshop, like 3 Wednesday nights in a row, or an all-day Saturday, or a Friday night, Saturday morning, and you offer a workshop that is not contingent on the event planner's calendar. So you're delivering this great content that moves the congregation either into action or further along on their discipleship path or whatever. Like I do one called it's a discipleship program, and I'll just take 3 of the key elements out of that whole retreat and teach that 3 weeks in a row, or Friday night, Saturday morning. So they don't have to feed anybody, and they don't have to decorate anything. And it can be a very small group, so that there's not registration nightmares and tickets to produce and all that. But use your retreat and conference content as a workshop that can be done anytime. So you can do it right now as they're just easing people back into the building. But that has been just really a good shift, especially during COVID, because I don't have to wait for the annual event
big thing
to get on the calendar. Right. And it just gives them another taste test of what you can deliver with very low risk for them. You don't charge as much as you would for a big conference. As a matter of fact, you could do a percentage, or you could do I don't know. You could offer a lower honorarium or just a percentage of the fees.
Yeah, so that's so great. And I think that one of the things that you've brought up already twice now that I want to make sure that everybody's catching is that you need to get very comfortable that you have so much content to share.
Yeah.
And you need to always be communicating that however it is that you say it. I use almost exactly your same line, which is I wish that I had a time here to go into this. In fact, I wrote that book out there, Feeling Loved, because I don't have time to go all the way into this, but you have to know this right now.
Right.
And then, or I have a whole conference that I do on this, but right now, the thing I want to share with you.
Exactly.
You just incorporate it. And again, it's not about selling something.
Right.
And maybe the example, I was at a marriage conference years ago, and all of us women have a hard time with the word submit because it sounds so, and it's been so abused.
It has been abused.
Submission has been abused. And so it has a bad feeling. But the lady was teaching us about how to actually literally submit to our husbands in a way that's pleasing to God and safe. And then she also said, one thing you want to be sure to do is you want to submit to your husband every piece of information that he needs that you have. And I was like, what? And she said, this is part of submission. You have information that will help him succeed, right, but you're holding it back for whatever reason. And this applies to you as a speaker, as a communicator. God has given you gifts and information, ways of presenting truth that he hasn't equipped anybody else to do it just like you do. And by you not saying these things, you're actually not doing what God put you on planet Earth to do because you're intimidated or you feel like it's salesy or whatever. Right. It's not prideful. It is just saying, thank you, God, for putting me on planet Earth for right now. Whatever you want to flow through me, that's what I want to share. So I just want to encourage you guys, just confidently step into who God has created you to be, what he's calling you to do.
And practice it. If you have to say it into the mirror or to your mom or just so that because the first time it comes out of your mouth, it's choky. It's hard.
It is.
So practice it. Yeah.
Well, and honestly, so I'm working on a new resource that I'm going to release here in a few weeks about the COVID church attendance thing. And it takes me, I sit in front of the camera and I retake it and I retake it and I retake it and I retake it until I can say it.
Yes.
Like I mean it. Because I meant it the whole time. But because it's something that I haven't ever said before, it doesn't sound like it when I say it at first.
Right. We're connecting what's in our heart to what's in our head.
Yes.
And making sure that it feels authentic and not just like a memorized.
Exactly. This is what you were saying earlier, is that the preparation piece is so huge. Yeah.
It really is. It really
so
is.
What's a hack to differentiate ourselves from the pack?
Well, that is figuring out what you do that nobody else can do. What you can do that it's that elevator pitch. It's what you do for whom, how, and why it's important to you. Because if an event planner can feel your passion and it aligns with her vision, it's a no-brainer to have you come and speak to her women.
And if it is a disconnect, then you're not the right gal for right now. And that's perfect.
Right. And can we just say there's plenty of places to speak for everybody?
Amen. Like there are 450,000 churches in America.
Yeah.
There are 1,000 speakers at womenspeakers.com. Believe me, girls, there's enough.
And that's not nonprofit organizations. That's not Christian camps.
Yes.
That's not, there's plenty of places for you to find your niche. And you really don't want to be talking to everybody. No. I learned this the hard way. So I had a girlfriend. I speak to women. I make them laugh. I make them cry. I want them to leave an audience. I don't want them to leave an event the same way they came in. Amen. I want them transformed, even if it's an itty bitty transformed. I want them to be different leaving than when they came. So
you're not passionate about that at all, are you?
Yes. I want everybody. So I have a girlfriend, and she was in charge of a youth retreat, and she lost her keynote speaker just a couple of weeks before the event. And she called me and she said, could you please just talk to these at-risk girls? And I said, that's not really my thing. I don't know. I mean, I was an at-risk girl. I was a red hot mess, used to be a Playboy bunny. Now I'm a Bible teacher. That perks your interest when you're a naughty girl. like there is hope for me. It's not too late for a fresh start. I could still, Jesus might still love me. If he took her, he'll probably take it. All that. But I said, this really isn't, these girls, they aren't really my sweet spot. And she said, I am desperate. You know, she didn't actually say, if you love me, you will do this, but it was implied. So I did it, and it was really awful. I mean, I think I did an okay job, but I did not do that. I didn't do that conference justice like I would have if they had all been women of childbearing age. And it just reminded me that God gave me a particular message for a particular audience. And I am all about dragging people into the kingdom and then continuing to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And so just if you're not operating with the ideal audience, if you don't know who you want to talk to and what you want to tell them so that they get this kind of result, you'll just always feel sort of inept. And I came away feeling like I got such rave reviews, and I'm not bragging. I'm just saying she was so thrilled, and it wasn't because she loved me, but the girls had a really good experience.
But you knew
I didn't do them justice. It wasn't my best work.
So I love this. Yeah. And the reality is that God called you to go, and you went.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But in the future, I would have worked harder to find somebody else. I really would have. I would have worked harder to find somebody
That's so interesting.
Really good with at-risk girls.
So in my talks with women, and I speak to women too, and in my talks with women, I use analogies. So many stories and analogies. Yes. So I would try to communicate. I was the guards director for Awana for years.
Okay.
Years and years, a decade probably. And I loved Awana and everything. But when I would try to give the devotional at Awana, at the end, I would have girls raising their hands like, well, my mom doesn't let me use a candle or whatever. I mean, something I would have said have tripped them up because it was just over their head. Yeah. And I could still do it, and they would still get something out of it. And when I needed to, I did. Right. But is that what I'm supposed to do all the time? No.
Right. I should have this tattooed. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Right. And being available to God is really important. And he will call us to do things completely out of our comfort zone.
Right.
And he will use us and flow through us for that event. For sure. But that doesn't mean that's what you focus on. And you certainly shouldn't go after those. Like that's what you're spending your time trying to do. No, get really clear. And I'm just going to pitch it again. The mission vision, and again, in Marnie.com. So like as a featured speaker with women speakers, you get access to all of the Marnie.com resources. And so you guys, if you need the pitch training, if you need the mission vision training, just join as a featured speaker and you'll get it all for free. Otherwise you can do it over at Marnie.com. So this is so much fun, and you are so full of good stuff. And we might go a little over here. The best kept secret to being findable.
Yeah, that's registering for Christian women speakers.
Well, aren't you? I paid you, right? I paid you to say that.
I'm telling you, I get so many events from this. But to be findable, register at a place where event planners are looking for speakers. Duh. Right. Another one is MOPS International. It's Mothers of Preschool Children. Has a speaker board, a speaker bureau. Where you can register to be a speaker for MOPS. Stonecroft has a speaker, approved speaker list, I guess that. So put yourself on places where women event planners are looking for you. That's easy. And that's super easy to find.
And do not be afraid to submit your application as a speaker to homeschool conventions, all these kind of things, because you don't know the people in your audiences wear multiple hats. Yeah. You have no idea who's sitting there. You have no idea. And and I know one of the things I love about your ministry is that you're very gracious in that you don't require people to have a huge amount of money in order to work with you. And that's really worked well for you over the years.
It has. I talk to everybody. I mean, I say yes to everything. And there are two lines of thinking, and this is probably something that we should talk about another time, is how to set your fees and how to make money even if they don't pay you very much. But you have to decide whether or not you can, if you're in this to make money, it's just going to break your heart. If you do anything just for the money, it's going to leave you empty. So we just got to believe that God's going to fill in the gaps when the money isn't full tilt, because he does. But like I say, exposure and publicity is just as good as a paycheck. An email somebody gives you is like a paycheck. I mean, there are so many different ways to make money as a speaker, continuing to serve, continuing to deliver good content, and then letting God fill in the gaps.
Well, and I've heard so many stories from so many speakers about how, they really prayed over an event that they were asked to go to for free. They had to pay their own travel expenses, whatever. And then God just turns around and just does this amazing, unexpected thing. And we're not sitting here telling you that because you're a speaker, you shouldn't charge anything. We're not at all telling you that.
Exactly.
That's between you and God and your spouse and your family. That's a decision. That's a huge decision. There's free trainings on that. Go to marniesfriends.com, go to speaker, and go to how to set your fees.
That's great.
But we are telling you that it is not the only way to make a living as a speaker is to set fees. That's not the only way. And sometimes for a lot of us, that isn't the way God has asked us to do it.
Right. I got the biggest speaking job, speaking, more people, more money that they offered me. I was speaking for a love offering, which is another way of saying you might get a potted plant.
Yes, right.
And a thank you card. So I was speaking for a love offering, and I got this call while I was at the hotel, in between sessions. And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And the reason that this big event called me is because I had served a very small event. They took home one of my books or one of the one sheet or something. And the little old lady took it to her pastor and said, "I want you to take a look at this young lady. I think she has something to offer to our congregation." And what's he going to say? I'm not going to do it. And ended up with a lovely event out of that. So just say yes to everything, because you never know what might be just around the corner.
Yeah, right. You're just saying yes to Jesus. You're saying yes to Jesus. And there are times to say no. There are absolutely times to say no. Set clear parameters, and then let God make exceptions to those parameters.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So for just about 2 minutes, we want to talk about how you can speak for free and still make money. So I'm going to bounce it to you in a sec. One of the things that I like to say to gals who have to have, like their husband has said, they have agreed together, we have to have at least blank in order for you to travel. Okay. If you're in that situation and you're talking to a planner and she says, "I'm afraid we don't have a budget for this," but they're going to sell tickets for their conference or retreat, just say, "Would you be willing to add $2 or $5 to each?" Find out how many attendees they're going to have. Do the math. Would you be willing to add $2 to your ticket and then give that to me? Because I actually have to, in order for me to be able to say yes. And I so want to come and work with you. Right. So there are ways to just encourage them to think about your needs without sounding like a money grubbing crazy person.
Exactly. And if you're humble about it, and if you don't, if you're not strident, like, I know speakers who say, "I'm not going to walk out of the house for less than XXX." And I think, okay, you're in the wrong business, but.
And you know what? I want to just distinguish there. That God has called us all to such different things. And if they say yes to that thing that they wouldn't walk out of the house for, but they say yes to it against what God has called them to do, they won't do what they're supposed to be doing during those hours when they were supposed to not be doing that.
That's a good word.
So you guys just get clear with it with God.
Right.
And then walk confidently what he calls you to do. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And remember, you set your own fees.
This
is your deal.
That's right. You and God work this out.
Right. A workman is worthy of his wages. So don't be ashamed to ask for money. This is This
Right.
is what I do. And this is the agreement that I've made with my husband.
Right.
That's a great line. I love the idea of just tagging a little bit of money on each ticket if you're going to sell it. Another way is to offer a service beyond the program. And you don't have to have a $2,000 coaching program or a $500 course that you sell. But if you would do, like, if you even do one-on-one coaching, if people are intrigued with what you do, is there something that you can offer beyond the event? Another thing is that if you have a book, and
Absolutely.
I talked for like 20 years with nothing published. So, but if you have a book, you can, a lot of times there's 2 different budgets in the church. You could ask the event planner if she'd buy a book for each one of the event attendees. Right. And this worked out really well for me. I was speaking at an event. It was for widows because I was widowed, and I'm better now. I say that so fast. I don't mean to do that, but it was a long time ago. I'm healthy, happy, and remarried again now. And he's cute and adorable and really handy around the house and fixes everything I break. But so I was talking to this widows group, and they didn't have anything to pay me. So it's like gas money. I'm like, okay, that's all right. I still want to come because they do a lot of other events there. And I think, wow, this is just an open door. Then I said, would you be willing to buy a book for each, my book on being widowed? It was a memoir. Would you be willing to buy a book for each one of the women who comes? And she said, let me think about it. She went to a church that was affiliated with the organization, and they bought a book for each one of the 200 ladies. So nice. Now, not only that, but now I've got 200 books floating around in that area. Right. People passing them around. My goal is to find my book at Goodwill, because that's how I know that it's really
now
being
you've been
read
around.
widely. Yes.
You've been around. So funny. So one thing too is this idea of the book ahead of time, or the purchase of the book.
Yeah.
The most powerful things to do if you're the writer of a Bible study book is to encourage the group to go through it before you come.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only now you're helping them to prepare their hearts, but they're going to be talking to all the other ladies in the church. You've got to come hear this gal. We're doing her Bible study book. It is so good. It's changing my life. You have to come to the event. You're helping the event planner actually fill the seats as well. There are so many things to do here. And like you say, that's a whole nother program. Tell us about Alexa. Why would we want to know Alexa?
This goes back to getting in touch with the local event planners. So you're going to, Alexa, find all the churches within 25 miles of me that have a women's ministry presence. And then you're going to reach out to those women's ministry event planners, those women's ministry leaders, and offer your services as an emergency contact, or as a Bible study leader, or as a retreat speaker. So that's a great way to find out who's having events and what kind of events they have, is just Googling it.
Nice. And I use that when I travel, when I know I'm going to travel ahead of time. I use that to find speakers or potential speaking opportunities in the vicinity where I'm going to be for this other event. I'm going to already be there. They don't have to pay travel. I'm already going to be there.
Right.
So right away you walk in the door. Okay, I'm a national speaker, international speaker, and I'm going to be in your community. Is there anything I can do for you?
Exactly. I do that a lot. I'll get one anchor event. That's what I call the main one. And when I know I'm going to be traveling a ways, I will do flat rate pricing so that one event doesn't pay for somebody else's travel. And that's just a little like pro tip. If you don't make them feel funny about that. So then you can call places within an hour driving or whatever and say, I'm going to be in your area, and I was just wondering how I might be able to serve you. And you piggyback like 3 on the front, 3 on the back, and now you get to speak to all these people. And again, more publicity for that area so that you become more well known there.
It's boots on the ground, and it's increasing your
It is.
sphere of influence, and it's sharing the message God is putting in your heart with as many people as possible,
Right.
using your time as wisely as possible.
Yep.
Last one, the follow your favorite strategy.
If you are looking for places to speak, you want to follow people who are already doing what you're doing, and it makes the prospecting more qualified. So if like you could follow me, you could go on my website and you could go, where has Robyn already spoken? Oh, that's
Right.
like if you feel like we have compatible topics, or you could go on Marnie's website and see the 10,000 places that she's been speaking and contact them after she's been there and say, I see you had my acquaintance or my friend, depending on, don't lie to them. Right. Do not lie to them. But I have a very compatible message with the event planner, with the speaker that you had last year. And I was just wondering if I might talk to you about the possibility of coming to present to your women next year. These are the outcomes that I can deliver with confidence, outcome, to your women. And it just opens up the door to a conversation, and it qualifies the leads.
It's back to being really clear about who you are, where you want to be, and to just keep walking through that.
Yes.
Well, we are at the end, and this just flew by. It's so fun and such great content, Robyn. As always, you guys can learn more about Robyn over at womenspeakers.com. Real quick, before I let you tell us what's at your website too. If you guys want to hear more from Robyn, and her and I are going to be some of the speakers at the Well Conference in April in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which you're from Michigan. And I'm so excited to be part of this conference. That is just a real God-honoring conference. If you're a communicator, you want to be there to meet other communicators who are doing it also, but also to be trained in how to do it more effectively. All right. So you can find Robyn at womenspeakers.com under Michigan, or at her own website, Robyn Dykstra. And Robyn, what are we going to find when we go over there?
There is a clarity coaching page. If you are interested in having somebody take a look at your content, or watch a video of your delivery, or help you figure out who you want to talk to and what your outcomes are, I'd be happy to work with you as a speaker coach.
Oh, that's so great. And you'll find her topics over there and some clips from places she's spoken. And oh my gosh, you are my heart. I love you so much.
Oh, this was so much fun.
It really was. It really was. Thank you so much for being here. And thanks you guys for joining us. And be sure to spread this around. If you have a speaker friend who feels discouraged right now, will you share this video with her? And also, if you want to get more like this, just subscribe to the Godly Women Worldwide channel, and you will see when all of these are coming. So you have a wonderful day. See you next time. Bye-bye.